name is Jenny, and I'm a wife and mom raising 2 kids. But I used to live a more glamorous life as a TV reporter. I was on the nightly news interviewing pop stars and politicians. So when I said goodbye to TV and hello to motherhood, I suddenly discovered what we moms are up against. We live in a world that tells us to be rich and famous, thin and successful. You know, almost nobody says, "Oh, hey, you're a mom? That's fabulous." But you are fabulous, and I'm here to tell you why.
It's the Channelmom Show, celebrating you with Jenny Dean Schmidt.
Attention, moms. You know, we're also concerned about how we look on the outside, but what about our insides? Now you can age-proof your body with Protandim. Just reach for what's been called the best anti-aging product out there, as seen on the Today Show. Sign up now as a preferred customer, and after receiving your 3rd bottle, get a $50 Visa gift card. Just click on the ad to the right of this video to get started. Today, we're going to talk about influence, ladies. We are influencers from the moment we wake to the second we slip off to slumber. We are affecting our world and the people in it. Whether we know it or not, whether we try to or not, we are influencers. We can influence by accident or we can influence by effort. That is a quote from the Fulfill website, helping women, quote, live out their influence. So today we have Dr. Liz Selzer with us, along with Elisa Morgan. Dr. Selzer is in studio, and I'm saying it wrong, and you can, Selzer is in studio today, and she's an expert on mentoring, having worked with big companies and organizations like NASA and ConocoPhillips. Liz heads up the mentor leadership team and also has a radio show herself called Mentoring Across Differences. Yes. And meanwhile, Elisa Morgan has served as CEO of MOPS International and is now President Emerita. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Her latest book is She Did What She Could, 5 Words of Jesus That Will Change Your Life. She's also president of Mission Momentum and publisher of Fulfill. Her current mission is to mobilize women to influence. All righty, ladies. I'm really excited about this. We're gonna have you on for a segment and a half because I think this is something a lot of women think about. You know, how can I have more influence? How can I change the world? How can I live out my dream? How can I help people for the better? So on and so forth. Can we just chat, you and I? Welcome, Elisa, by the way. Are you out there?
Good to be with you this morning.
Thank you for being with us. Can we just chat about the influence that women have? Do we have enough? Do we need more? Do we have the wrong idea about it?
Well, my take on it is that we have all we're ever going to have. We just need to learn how to use it. We have 100% of the influence that anybody has. But I think we discount ourselves. We move from wiping faces and bottoms and countertops, hopefully not in that order. And we forget that we are making life-changing decisions and choices every single minute of our lives.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think we tend to measure leadership. I was just reading this morning the Forbes 500 list of women in chief executive officer positions is something like 2.4% of all the positions. And some women lament that. But I would like to say that's not the only measurement of leadership. Who's a CEO and who's not? I mean, what do you think, Liz?
No, absolutely not. I mean, I've done a lot of research on gender and where women are. And, you know, we've made a lot of progress. I think women have in a lot, especially in middle management and middle leadership. But there's still actually, like you said, there's not a lot in the really super upper leadership areas in companies. But that isn't the only measure. It's not your title. And I think that's something that Fulfill and Elisa and I have talked about a lot with women is you can influence where you are right now. And don't wait, and don't wait to be given permission by somebody because you have it. As Elisa said, that influence is in you.
Yeah.
And you have, between all the, the way you were born and the experiences that you had, they have molded you into a very unique human being who can influence very uniquely in the one place, where you are. Mm-hmm. And only you can do that. And and that's sort of the message. When I worked at MOPS, that was the big message. We said, only you can do that. Only you can. And you're the one that's uniquely put into this very special place where you can influence your neighbors and you can influence, obviously, your children. Children, that's a huge piece.
Yeah.
And women tend to discount that sometimes, how important that influence is. And you can influence your friends. You can influence, you can influence in your community. You can influence in the political arena. I mean, there are so many places that a woman can influence from, and I believe we're all called to do so.
Absolutely. And Elisa, it occurs to me that, especially in our society, women aren't really cheerleaded and it's not really on sitcoms that what they're doing every day that they give their children direction and instruction is influencing in an enormous way that is so important, but it's so subtle that they could be shaping the mind of the next president, but they could also be helping their kid to save another child from suicide because they love on them because they've been taught to love. Mm-hmm. I mean, do moms not get enough cheerleading, like I said, to say what you are doing is enormously important every day you wake up and give your child a lesson in morality?
Yeah, exactly. At Fulfill, and it's if anybody wants to log on, it's FULLFILL.org. It's free resources for women to help understand your influence. We believe that leadership is influence, and influence is leadership. Mm-hmm. And we believe that it begins in the most concentric circles of who we are as women. So that might mean in the 9 inches from your eyes to your baby. It might mean further out into your community. It might mean into a job that influences the world. It might mean social activism. It might mean whatever it is. But I actually see kind of a quadrant of influence, if you can picture axis, a horizontal and vertical, and moving around the quadrants in a spiral. First, we need to recognize our influence. And then we need to invest it, to utilize our influence. And then we need to maximize it, to grow it to the fullest extent possible. And then we can mobilize it so that we help other people understand their influence. And it's a spiral of influence that begins with us, and again, the most concentric circles, the tightest ones, and moves out in our lives and in our lifetimes. The way we use influence today is not the same as we used it yesterday, and won't be the same we use it next time. So really, it's irregardless of how others perceive us or give us permission. It's how we take the responsibility ourselves to recognize, utilize, maximize, and mobilize who we are in our children's lives and in our world.
Right. And can you and Liz, we've got about 4 minutes left in this segment, and then we're going to move on to the next segment. But can you and Liz give some examples? If there's a mom sitting at home today and thinking, oh, I've always wanted to have a positive influence on the world, on my children, on my family, on my neighbors, but no one listens to me. I'm a nobody, or however they're feeling. I don't have much to say, but they've got this thing in their heart that they know they could share. Give some examples. What is it to influence? How can we see that manifested?
Well, one example is I've become involved with an organization called One.org, the One Campaign, O-N-E. Mm-hmm. It's Bono's support to it's nonpartisan, and it's an advocacy program. They don't want your money, but you just vote in online and join it. And it helps eradicate extreme poverty and prevent curable and preventable diseases. Well, hey, I'm a voice. I count for that. And so I go in and I join the One Campaign, or the One Mom Campaign, which is now a derivation of it. Anybody can do this.
Yeah. What about you, Liz?
Well, one of the things we talk about at Fulfill is helping women go one step further in their influence. And so as Elisa talked about, I think women have to identify kind of the stage that they're at. Mm-hmm. If they've just had a baby and they, can't even get a shower in and then their influence really is with that child. And right. It's with, maybe it's just having a little bit better attitude during the day so that their other children see it, or their husband sees it, or their neighbor sees it. And then as they move along, you may hit the stage of becoming, maybe your kids have just gone to school. Well, how can you maybe influence in your community and look for ways? I mean, people need volunteers. And the dearth of volunteers right now is incredible because of the issues of people trying to find work, where the economy is. And so companies and organizations, nonprofits, are desperate for volunteers right now. So if you can kind of sit back and, there's all kinds of assessments out there, and sort of find out what it is that you're good at uniquely, and where can you plug into an organization. It takes some intentionality, and I think that's kind of the biggest thing. It's easy just to go day to day to day. Oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
Right.
But if you can sit there and say, okay, what am I good at? What gives me passion? What if I could just do something? What would it be that I didn't have to? Worry about getting paid for or anything. What would that thing be?
Yeah.
And then start pursuing that. Is it in the musical area? Is it in a speaking area? Is it in a writing area? I mean, what is it that you enjoy? And then see where you can plug it into the organizations that are around you.
Yeah. And I think sometimes people don't realize, if they say, well, just be a volunteer, they feel like they're going to be somebody that doesn't have much of an impact. But I have seen mothers change schools.
Oh, yeah.
By their excitement and eagerness to help the kids and to contribute and to start something new for children. You can change the world from your school.
No, you absolutely can.
Coming up, I want the two of you, and you don't have to answer this now, but do you have an opportunity to address moms who want to find out what their talent is? Can you direct them to resources where they can find out what their gifts are?
Well, Liz has a particular test that she can lead people to, and I'll let her mention it. But also, if you just go online to fulfill, the 8 digizines that are there, which are free again, will take you through a variety of themes.
30.
Specifically, it's called Stuck. And there's work to help you understand, why am I stuck, and how can I get unstuck in my life and using my influence. And listen, go ahead and suggest some of the assessments you know
Absolutely. About. We'll talk more about that coming up after the break.
Okay.
And we'll
15.
learn more about how you can be an influencer mom and change the world coming up in the next segment.